Hello, hello.
Hello, hello there.
Wow, so nice to finally connect.
Great to connect with you, Carolina. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm not sure if you guys hear me well because I have a very lush and loud nature behind me. It's kind of like a little jungle with also walking little chickens around. So I hope you can hear me well.
I can hear you.
And I am very excited. Thank you, Jerome, for inviting me. It's the first time somebody invited me to be a part of a live conversation. So, yes, I feel extremely blessed and grateful. And thank you.
The honor is mine. The honor is mine. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining and just having a conversation. We're just having a conversation. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, my cat over here is enjoying the screen right now. It's late evening here in the USA.
Yeah.
I'm over here in Texas. So you're in Bali, correct?
Yes, right now I'm in Bali. So it's just past 10 a.m. I
Just
think
past
it's
10 a.m.
kind of unusual hour for you probably to do live this late,
No
no?
worries. No
Mm.
worries. I just enjoy having conversations whenever we can. So I'm glad that our time zones were able to harmonize. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from Poland, although I must say I don't really feel connected with that land, and especially because of my past years being there, I still accumulated a lot of memories and things that, of course, are always malleable and open to change and be even looked from a different perspective and then gain a different relationship with them. But at the moment, I just decided to leave it for now. And when I had the opportunity to leave first to Tenerife, that where I was living past 8 months, and now I am here in Bali, and I am still feeling in with that choice because Bali, Bali has always been my dream. And a few years back, there were really active plans and everything was aligning for me to come here. But unfortunately, some other stuff happened um, and I didn't go. So the Bali has always been in the back of my head. And when I thought, okay, let's do it. Maybe that's the time, like now or never. I came, and it's just a lot, you know. The island is very intense, um, not only with people but also different energies, nature. I never. You go to nature to usually like to meditate, to calm your nervous system, and that's the nature I was brought up with. That's the nature I experienced all of my life. But nature here in the tropics is something completely different. It's always living, and I know nature is always living, but this nature is living so loudly. Yeah, it's very intense.
Living loudly, you say. Loudly.
Yes, yes, it's like nature wants to mark its appearance, its being here, it stands, you know.
Yes. Wow. When you say that certain aspects of Poland, there was a disconnect. What did you
Yes.
say was the largest disconnect when it came to Poland? And what was the largest gravitational pull when it came to Bali?
Um, I would say my journey with Poland has been I've been slowly redefining my place, not maybe only my place there, but my relationship to this place. Because I would say my first conscious um, realization that something is off was just in around my high school years. Um, I feel a huge part that contributed to this was when I stopped my biggest source and form of self-expression, which is dance. I used to be a dancer for many years, and it's been a big passion. And then came a lot of unknown and questions, and pressure. The basic stuff that we mostly everyone in this society is experience about the choices we're about to make in the future, as for like what to do for work, like university, that kind of stuff. And at that time, I felt really, really disconnected from myself, from people. I went into some destructive habits, but I knew this is not life. Like, I always had this, people would say, idealistic view or childish, but I think it's actually the one that we should all have, the one that believes that there is more to life, and life should be experienced in the biggest bliss and joy and connection with each other, the pure connection, not based on some hierarchy or based on some competition. Um, and then I also went to England, actually, for university. I would say that is where my kind of conscious creatorship journey started. I got very interested in veganism, natural food. I started rediscovering this world, actually discovering this world, and also raw veganism. It was really a big journey, but there have been still some challenges. And due to these challenges, I decided, although it was not purely my decision, but I agreed to it, to come back to Poland. And then being back in this environment, I definitely wasn't strong enough to stand in my own truth, and with all the energies of this place, my past memories about the school, about family, about, yes, this huge disconnect that I would instantly feel. And I think from that point, the journey has been like that. But the important thing is that through actually other, not other, maybe I wasn't really that conscious then, but, or maybe conscious, but not knowing, or knowing, but not using my power in a way. So by watching other people that were sharing their stories either on YouTube, or this whole like positive bubble on Instagram that I discovered at that time, helped me in a way to start tuning back to myself. And that's the time when I actually started writing, um, like those little poems, or just creating art and just being myself. It just took so much time, and still I'm in the process. I'm nowhere near, like, that's the journey, but now I'm here and we're perfect. And you know uh the journey of becoming, actually what I know I am. Because I think that's the challenge, to realize that into our reality. into our material world and not just know, not just feel, but also embody. Oh, that's the word. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow, Carolina, thank you for sharing this. Like coming back into who you are, just coming back into oneness with your uniqueness, just oneness with your authenticity, your originality, and just growing more and more into your knowing of who you are. I love that it's ever evolving, it's ever expanding, and wow, what a journey. What a journey. And it's so interesting because it sounds like it's blossoming and blooming so much creativity for you right now, and as well with the words that you write, with the poetry, with just your flow. I just really enjoy the way that you do these rhymes that are very lighthearted, and they also get somebody to think differently about their current perspective. It gets somebody to shift and like tweak their mind just a little bit, to think a little bit differently, like to look at something that they might have looked at before, but differently, from another vantage point. I love how your poetry unlocks pieces of people's perception in that way. Yeah.
Thank you. This is like, I thank you so much for receiving that, because this is really the not like conscious, like planned thing, because this is just flowing, but I know this is the intention of it, exactly like that. And funny fact is that before, because writing, I feel, has always been in my bones or fingers, because since I was in schools, like very, primary schools, I'd write this super long stories and poems. And I one time remember how even my parents were disgusted with my teacher, because I was writing like some exam, some story for an assignment, like a life assignment that you do in school. And it was like a very heartfelt story that has this um, repetition repetition of one word like few times at the beginning of the sentence, so that I don't know, I just felt that that creates more the vibe. And my parents and my teacher just marked that and said repetition, repetition, and like marked me down. And my parents were reading it and was like, she wrote it so beautifully, like this teacher is like, so stupid. So yeah. And sorry, because I got off topic. So yes, I
No,
was
so
saying that
good.
this was in my bones.
Mhm.
But when the darkest times came, I started expressing myself in this very like dark and deep writings. Even the poetry was, the intention was that I see the light, but it was still from that almost like dim perspective. So it was nothing compared to what it evolved now. And this is also very interesting how I was scrolling down my old Instagram post. I think I was doing it so many times over the years that I might have modified or deleted or archived some stuff. But I remember seeing like the writings that were so full of blame, of guilt, of like being sorry for putting myself for that, and just like even the writings to myself that I am so sorry, and like you didn't deserve it, and that my mind is so full of this and that. And you know the intention was good. The intention was of healing, but that was the cycle that I actually ended up in for a few years, of the healing that actually doesn't bring you out of misery. It just keeps repeating that and like focusing on that in different nuances, but it doesn't, and it seemingly sees the light and it seemingly goes in the direction of light, but when the mind and the body is in such state of darkness, that there needs to be some switch to take it out, like some even destruction from that whole problem. And the mind, whereas constantly focusing at and writing about that and expressing myself about that, was keeping me actually stuck.
Mm.
I'm so sorry. I need to.
Yeah. This is very interesting, you know, because when you're expressing the dark times, like you said, when the dark times came, you know, if somebody was just trying to get a mental picture of what these dark times actually look like for you, how would you illustrate it? Like, how would you describe that darkness?
Mm. I would describe it as heaviness, as just like heavy clouds of, and in the end, I think it ties to thoughts and beliefs and patterns in our subconscious. But when you are experiencing it, like experientially, not like technically what it is, that now I gained deeper understanding of and clarity, but the experience of it, I would describe as just deep disconnect.
Mm.
Actually, I would use that word that you said at the beginning. Deep and
Yeah.
knowing. Also, the like feeling, like deeply feeling that something's not right. This,
Hmm.
yeah, I would say something like
And
that.
and because that deep disconnect that you talk about, you know, because I don't feel like anybody's path is really linear. Like nobody's path that I know of just steadily trends up and to the right, you know, is like just a completely flawless path. You know, we have the ups and downs, the ins and outs, the backs and forths, the left and right, and you know, and we have the contrast. I definitely have had a lot of contrast in my life to appreciate for sure. But when you were speaking on destructive habits, I don't remember hearing anything specific, but what would you call destructive habits and patterns that you were dealing with that you had to break out of?
Um, I would say they're never really destructive in a way. They are just a reflection, a manifestation of some deep rooted belief that we are conditioned with, as in for some aspect of I'm not worthy, I don't deserve to be here. For me, it was really extreme because it was something along the lines of I don't even deserve to live. I don't deserve to be here. And so my habits, I would say, were, although I think they all have this kind of similarity around them, but we're like physically diminishing myself, literally, like wanting to disappear. And that's, and I, for many years, because usually when you struggle with something, be that um, some sort of just mind pattern, like obsessive pattern, or habits as, you know, cigarettes or drugs or watching TV or eating disorders. It's more that people who try to help you, um, but actually they like the. I'm just trying to say that the majority of people are demonizing that problem, and so you feel even more guilty for having that problem, and you try to focus your whole energy on fighting this problem, whereas this in fact creates a vicious circle because we we cannot be at war with ourselves to heal really. And the approach of when there is something bad, we have to fight it is an old, what are the balloons? Is the old paradigm, I believe, that doesn't work. And it never proved it worked because just we just have to look at the state of society. There is so much unhappiness and illnesses and diseases. So obviously that's not working. So the only approach, in my opinion, to healing was to deeply go in and realize and get to know this thing, this habit of what is truly trying to show you what it truly means, and why am I doing this. And this is a very interesting thing, because when you ask questions to your mind, like to your subconscious mind, to your conscious mind, the answer would always come. At least I feel it was for me. And right now I think I might be a bit chaotic because this journey has been so long and so, like, as you said, ups and downs. And I gained a lot of understanding of also subtleties, but also different perspectives that people might choose to see these problems and issues and approach them with. And this is very interesting because there's no one that fix it all. Like, you know, in um, the root is always the same, because these patterns are always a reflection of some misaligned belief in subconscious mind, right? So the solution is always to change that, but the ways to do it, they differ, I feel, for many people. That is why I don't think one approach fits all, but what they all have in common is that you need to be brave to look within. And this sounds really woo-woo, because everyone says just look within, and it's like, yeah, okay, what is within? What do I do? But the tricky thing is that we need to know what is the mind that's programmed and repeating the story, and what is the you and the true intention and the true higher expression of that habit that is trying to just meet some need. I don't know if I said something that can be drawn from it, because I know I said a lot of things and I
Well,
have a tendency to do that.
well, absolutely. I mean, no, what you say, it makes sense, Carolina. You know, I'm just listening to you as you're, voicing these things. And thank you for your vulnerability. First of all, just thank you for expressing this, in the best way that you can in the moment. Because when you're just talking about, and I'm sure that people can resonate, that there's people out there that know exactly what you're talking about when it comes to diminishing or feeling like you want to diminish or want to fade into the background or fade away entirely and not really be here, you know, like so many people have gone through that and still go through that. And some people, they don't make it out of that mentality to see into a different reality, you know? So when it comes to what you were able to find, where that was stemming from, you know, the wanting to diminish, the wanting to kind of fade away, or where did you find that the root, like where did it come from? Where did it sprout from? And as you were saying, it reveals something. What has it revealed to you?
Mm. I think first it's really revealed how deeply I was disconnected with who I am, as this infinite being of light that can express itself in a different forms, that decided to manifest itself in this form and absolutely deserves to be here, because I heard it once and I like to repeat it. The creator does not make mistakes. The creation does not make mistakes. So the pure fact that you're here means you deserve to be here and you're meant to be here, because the creator does not make mistakes. You wouldn't have been there if it did, if you were a mistake.
Oh my
And I
God.
really, and and just the shock of the contrast of what we are programmed with versus what is the truth.
Hmm.
That is the revelation, but also seeing a potential gift in that, because whenever each person overcomes even their little issue, or just because I also like to say it, and this is what my yoga teacher many years ago, that actually was magically happening in England. I was invited by beautiful souls for when I was deeply struggling, and then I opened myself with that, with yoga teacher that just came to my university. I was a part of a society and attending classes, and it was really magical, coincidental meetings. She approached me asking how am I feeling, and I just started like almost bursting in tears, because this was, I remember, yin yoga, and when I was lying there with in the posture with such anxiety and such whirl of thoughts, of dark thoughts, of just thoughts, and causing me so much anxiety that I couldn't even be in the body, not to mention in one posture for such a long time. And so I really opened up to her, and she also shared her story about her depression and how she was literally bedridden for a year in a mental institution that just numbed her with drugs, and came out of it literally wanting to die. And she had this real beautiful still vision that she's gonna go to India for a yoga teacher training. And she went, and she told me after 3 days, she was like, what the heck? Why everybody is so happy? Like, this is ridiculous. And she was ready to go. She was packing her own stuff. And she told me about that one night she had a conversation with this teacher. We talked like whole night at the beach and had a beautiful conversation. meditation that really opened her eyes, she said, and she stayed and she decided to finish. And now she was running her own courses and just thriving beautifully. And she invited me to that place to that course, because that special teacher was coming from India, and she really felt that she wants me to experience that. And it was so beautiful to experience it all. And I remember it was very interesting experience, because I feel part of me was just so happy and excited about this possibility of new life and perspective and everything, and just this blessings actually that were coming on me. But I still wanted to solve this. I constantly was sharing about this. I was like, I just felt something is wrong. It was, it didn't even reach the things that he was telling me. And I am telling this story only to say that I remember he said so beautifully, when there is darkness, what do you do with darkness? You don't fight the darkness. You don't try to understand the darkness. You don't solve the darkness. You just switch on the light. And it was something so simple. And I saw that, like I thought I saw, but I didn't really see that, because it was like the dark mind sees that it needs to light up,
Mm.
but the light needs to be coming from, I don't know, like the heart, the inner, something higher. And then you see the light, and you know the thoughts are only thoughts in
Mm.
a way. And you are the light that can actually change the thoughts, because I feel that's the another step of the journey that many people kind of forget about when they go to the healing processes. And that's also been a big one for me. But I just thought this is a really beautiful metaphor. He also said that when there is sun, you don't have to understand the sun. You don't have to also like study the sun. You just see it. You just feel it, you know? And 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 it's just always there. And there are clouds, and those visuals always come in meditations, like treat your thoughts like little clouds that are moving and going. And but at least in my experience, I never deeply experienced the benefits of that up until I realized that as a light, I have the conscious choice to choose which clouds or actually which aspects of this light I can focus on, and reaffirm that to myself, so that I can stay in the state of knowing who am I, and actually then beginning to consciously create, which people would call really like, even when you hear, for example, Abraham Hicks or some channeled material from the sixth dimension that is like of love and light, like, of course, if you believe in that, because there are all nuances and aspects, but doesn't matter really. All is just I wanted to say that they say you just play, it's not so serious. Life is a playground and you play. And when you're in that deep darkness and misery, you don't see really how it can be possible, or just you see, but you don't know how to do it. And actually the key, after you accept, know yourself, and accept and see the light, and know that you are light, which maybe know thyself is. Know your weaknesses in a way, your beliefs that are stopping you, but even behind that or above that or overlaying that, you know the true you, and that these things just change and and then you know, as this conscious creator, you are deeply, or the observer or the infinite or whatever, because it's really hard to even conceive or comprehend, and not to mention describe in words. But simply speaking, in this plane, you can choose the thoughts, and they will become the new programs that can be aligned to the light that you know you are, and the dreams that you know you deserve to reach, and the life in bliss and joy and abundance, also surrounded with objects and things or people, or these things that the best align to your uniqueness, the soul blueprint or whatever. Because I also don't want to um, put out many um, be, like beliefs in a way of, or just by saying like soul or dimension or this or that, because they're all just nuances and aspects and things that you can choose they exist, you can choose they don't. Like, you're so free, you can actually, your perspective can be whatever you want, really, when you are at this level of really conscious creatorship that I feel we all kind of are getting to, and getting better and better at. um so that's why I don't want to say, like, that many things like that define something that is really undefinable, and it's not also one way to see it, but just for me, like this soul originality in a way, and humanness originality, and just your creation as this embodiment originality, and uniqueness.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for showing that, that humanness, thank you for showing that side, and just thank you for showing that things are multifaceted, multidimensional, multi-layered, you know. Thank you for illustrating this, because you're right, there's not just one way to see something, there's not just one way to be something or one way to free something, there's so many ways, there's multiple ways, there's millions of ways,
Yeah, infinite of ways.
infinite ways, infinite ways. So, I love what you're talking about, because I mean, I even titled this Conscious Creation
Wow,
Carolina,
I love it.
with Carolina, because you're being a conscious creator of, your life. You're writing this book, this
Wow,
chapter, these pages.
trying
You're
to.
doing more than trying, you're doing it, it's happening. It's happening all the time, you
Yeah,
know. Yeah, whether we're aware of it or not, we're always creating. We're
exactly.
always creating.
Exactly.
So I love what you talked about, the metaphor, Carolina, about the light switch, and how when there's darkness, instead of trying to analyze the darkness, instead of trying to understand or go into the darkness, you simply flick on the light switch and just turn on the light. So I guess, what would be an equivalent of that in your life, of flicking on that light switch in your life? What would be the example of that?
Hmm. It's really an interesting question. Um, I would say actually it wasn't that mm, abrupt or like instant, like, you know, you're taken out and you have this awakening or realization. I would say it was more, I saw the light, but the process was to, and like one time the clouds, like taking the metaphor of the sun, I knew there is sun, I saw the sun, I felt the sun, but the clouds were, I was putting them, more of them and less and more and less, and experiencing how I feel with each, and just coming to maybe like a decision or realization that I don't need to experience that pain all the time.
What pain?
Maybe not pain, the heaviness, the darkness, the, I'm really trying to, because it's been a lot of people, a lot of listening, a lot of inner observation, and I don't think it was one thing that switched the light. I'm sure there was in some part of the process, but for me right now it's really hard to pinpoint in a way.
Mhm.
But definitely I saw that, so the process I think was started, but it's been, maybe actually it is like that. You see it, like you get a glimpse of that, even on that yoga teacher training, or even on my decision that, because I was, my parents really wanted me to stay in Poland because of these problems and health issues, you know, as we talked about the habit. But I remember I was so strong, and I I was like, no, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna heal. I'm gonna be happy, you know. So I think there is a strong pull to the lightness, but we just don't know how to approach it in a way. And then meeting this yoga teacher and everything, like this is just a journey. I think that some are more decisive. That okay, enough is enough. Like, you know, thank you, beautiful old suit. Like, you served me so well. But it's time to let go. We grew out of it. It's time to take on a new shirt and saying goodbye and just letting it go. And really, I see there are people who are able to just make the switch like that, or they just go to read or retreat, or just read a book, or just like go to the forest and get those realization, and they're like, enough is enough. But for me, it was still like um, growing, living, experiencing those patterns, those thoughts, these clouds in a way. But then during the process, I started looking at it more with light, actually, with this loving approach, because I was able to detach myself from my family that I constantly was surrounded with, because after I felt I failed, I went back to Poland, and then I started those conventional healing methods, as in for like typical therapy, and it just really took me even farther from my light and my healing. But I think the more, like, most important part was when I actually stopped, like, separated myself in a way from these people that I was so close with. And it was easier for me to do that when I was away in a way that where I was living in England. And when I was back, it was like another layer of work, because it's almost like I felt their voices and their thoughts and their everything is mine. And because I heard so much of this negative perspective, I didn't know that I can change that, that I can cut myself off from that, like distance even myself, to be even able to hear my own thoughts and do it in my own way, which was, and that I was getting into it, that I started treating those clouds with just compassion and love, and looking at them and not villainizing it, because it was so easy to be drawn back to this habit of saying, like trying to fight something, when the family around you is constantly seeing this is a problem, this is like your problem, this is a huge problem, you need to fix that problem, you need to heal from that problem. And it's this really off energy of that I used to be paralyzed by.
Mm.
And so I think the very important step was to at least mentally separate myself from them, or trying, or to the best of my ability. But still, I must say that when I had this like last shot of faith, because to be very vulnerable with you, I was really suicidal. And before Tenerife, that's my like very close friend that I had connection with through Instagram, actually was on this island, and she was telling me that this island brought so much healing for her, and that she's coming back again, and that I should come also. And I just bought this ticket, and and if I didn't buy it, this is really interesting, because I remember that I was just saying, I'm just gonna kill myself, like I'm just gonna do it, I'm just gonna do it this time. And I was so like convinced that I'm gonna do it, but I went. And it's not been easy, but at least, and it allowed me to also see those habits and thoughts and patterns very, with a completely different light, because I was able to experience them myself. And because I was floating almost so much out of my body, there's almost like the pull back, with this intention that, hey, I can create my beautiful life, and I
Mm-hmm.
deserve to be here. And I
Mm.
think the process got so in the mode that it's almost like I even wanted to stop it, like my mind and those still heavy patterns. But it's like, but it's too nice to feel good, And why not maybe believe at least a little bit, or just make a little attempt to try?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was also working with a beautiful soul, and she was telling to me, just, this is your decision, you decide, like you have to remind yourself these decisions every day, that I am loved, that I deserve to be here, that I deserve everything, I deserve my dreams. And it's like I was saying, but did I even make this, like I'm not sure, like because I said, oh, she asked me at the first session, like, what is my intention for this? And we were talking about this decision, and she did it so beautifully, like almost motherly, in a way that was saying, okay, So let's just treat it as an experiment. Let's just try. Let's just try to embody, to be in the body more, to embody this light, to be here. Because I wasn't even that at that place to commit to anything. So she was kind of like guiding me to, okay, let's just try for today, for a week, like as an experiment. And so I think this is something that most people struggle with because they make a decision in the moment of inspiration, but they completely forget about it. And then there is a key that I actually took me so much to understand, because literally everyone who I worked with from the beginning was telling me about affirmations or changing my thoughts, just changing your thoughts. Of course, they weren't saying just change your thoughts. We were going deeply about it, but it was just whatever. Whenever they put on the switch bulb, I was like, yeah, but So the the power of thought, the power of mind is always like, you always hear about it, but to actually experience it and actually repeat those things to yourself, remind yourself that, like, just say these things, just think these things, just write these things, not only just hear them somewhere or just like, think them one time when you're actually feeling good, and then you go back and you completely forget about everything. And I think that is really the magic key, that is so obvious, and it's like so funny and paradoxical that usually it's at least from what I observe, not only for me but for so many people, we're so stuck in our mind pattern. Even when we see the break in, we never sustain it because we forget. And I also forget. Like, I'm totally in the process and it's totally like that. So I'm really not trying to portray myself as a perfect now embodied being of light that's always knowing that and repeating it to myself every second. I try to the best of my ability, of course. And whenever I think maybe it just needs some practice, because the beginnings, as they say, with everything are always the hardest, no?
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Carolina.
A lot
Oh,
of words.
no, a lot of heart and a lot of soul and a lot of spirit. Like, thank you for letting us hear it. Thank you for letting me hear it. I needed this. I needed to hear your words of what you're going through in the moment. And it connected so many things for me as you expressed it. Because, first of all, I just want to say, Carolina, I'm grateful that you're
Um,
here. You know,
Thank you.
like, I'm grateful you exist. I'm grateful you're alive. I'm grateful you're here. I'm grateful that I know you, you know? I'm grateful that we are connected, and I'm grateful that you have this perspective that you know that you're here for a reason and not just merely for a season, right? Like, you're here for a reason, you
Yeah.
know? For a purpose, and you're being in service not only to yourself but to anyone else who has ears to hear, and eyes to see. They can clearly see themselves in you and me. There's pieces of ourselves in everyone, and I can see pieces of myself within you as you're speaking. Like, you're just taking me down so many places that I I never dared to venture to explore within myself. And it's like, wow, I'm like, what courage, what bravery it takes to even put the pieces of the puzzle together for yourself to understand, wow, I deserve to be here. It's like, if I wasn't supposed to be here, I wouldn't be here. So that already is proof that my existence says I am worthy. You know, like my existence says I am enough. I don't need to prove I'm enough. I don't need to learn I'm enough. I don't need to wish or hope I'm enough or pray I'm enough. I am enough. You are enough, you know? So I just thank you just for having the courage to be willing to live on, because sometimes just even going to the next day can be one of the hardest things for somebody going through darkness, you know?
Exactly. We really need to be compassionate and loving with ourselves, and even thanking ourselves for waking up, as in we decided to be here and we made it, we made it so far, and the journey is infinite, but we are here, and we are having this magic wand that I, in my latest
Oh,
poem,
that.
yeah, magic wand in our minds.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I watched
Really.
your live. I watched your live, the 18-minute one you put up the other day, when you talked about the magic wand and the magic of the mind,
It
and
was
just having that,
really,
yeah, like to have that perspective within the collective, and even with repetition. Like it's interesting that your teacher was crossing off, the repetition, when repetition is the mother of skill, you know like consistency, they say, is the DNA of mastery. Like the subconscious mind especially, it
yes,
it loves
it
repetition.
needs
It needs
consistency,
repetition.
a lot of repetition, a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah. Like that was one of the biggest lessons that I've still come into the awareness of, that I'm still learning. But one of the biggest lessons for me with the mind is that the necessity of repetition. Like when somebody asks me, why do you still, you like, I read, there's books that I've read over and over, there's words that I've said over and over, there's things that I've done over and over, because I know that it just has to be wired and ingrained in such a way that,
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So thank you for bringing that back to the forefront, to understand that it's okay. Like, they say, there's a saying that I guess isn't all the way true, because they say insanity can be doing the same thing, over and over again, expecting a different
Yeah.
result. But when
Yeah.
I was repeating to myself, Carolina, when there was no one else around and I was going through that dark time, what they call the dark night of the soul, right? And I was telling myself over and over, all is well. Out of this situation, only
Wow.
good can come, and I am safe. All is well. Out of this situation, only good can come, and I am safe. All is well. I wouldn't just whisper that. I wouldn't just speak that. I would scream it. I would yell it. I was just like a lunatic, yelling this just
Yeah.
at the top of my lungs. All is well. Out of this situation, only good can come, and I am
Yeah.
safe. I said it so many times, I started to believe it.
Yes.
You
Yes,
know what I
yes,
mean?
that's right. That's why this saying is said by the unconscious society that never get to this point.
Right.
Maybe, maybe that's it, because the insanity is actually a blessing in that understanding. Really, I truly resonate with what you said, and your words really touched me. Thank you for seeing me, and first of all, even seeing me, as in for my little page on Instagram, that I didn't really think that my poetry is read by anyone. And yes, just thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it's being read, it's being absorbed, it's being digested. It's nourishing. It's nourishing, and it's just coming from such a heartfelt place. And keep going, you know, like allow the energy to keep flowing through you. Just keep continuing to be a channel because it's healing, you know?
And
Yeah.
yourself too. You're just magically flowing also with me, like with words. So we definitely connected over that as well. But what you literally said at the last thing is, I think people need to repeat, listen and listen and listen to it again, and then maybe something will spark in them. Hey, maybe I need to shout this as well. You
Yeah.
know, this inner knowing that I know who I am, and whatever like affirmation or word works for you at that moment, it's perfect because it's for you, and it's perfect, and you can then change to another belief and decision, and you know, you don't have to just thought, and that will be shown true, really. Also, I just wanted to add something, but I forgot, I think.
Go ahead.
Wait, what was it? About affirmation, conscious creator. I don't know.
It'll
Probably it
come
wasn't
back
that
to
important.
Yeah, it'll come back to you. Let me know when
Yeah,
it comes back.
sure,
No, but
sure.
when you're speaking about, you know, they say that, and I'm sure you've heard this before, Carolina, but first comes affirmation, and then comes confirmation. You know,
All right.
first
Yes.
is the word is you speak it into existence. So first we affirm, and then we
And then it
confirm. We see it,
appears. Yeah.
right? But you don't see it in the outer reality until you see it in the inner reality. You know, like
And to
you have to,
see it, the key is repetition.
yeah, yeah. And it you repeat it until you be it, and then you see it. You know? So some
Yeah,
people say, hey, just fake it till you make it. That's what some people say. But I like be it till you see it, right?
exactly.
Be it until you see it. Don't just fake it until you make it. So with the words that we speak, I am is very powerful. You know, it's
Yeah.
biblical. I am, you know, the great I am, this I am. Like I think it's for a reason that you hear that a lot in the Bible and different scriptures talking
Yeah.
about I am. And when I was reading just different spiritual books, they talk about the I am presence, and you know the teachings of the masters of the Far East, they work with this I am presence of I am. And it's interesting, just those three letters, Carolina, I am. And one of my friends said, I am stands for intention, action, manifestation. And
Yes.
whatever you put after those three letters, it doesn't matter what you put. It could be for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer. Whatever you put after those three letters, it's like you are becoming that which you are. You know, it's
Yes.
like I am.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like
You're becoming.
we might as well say it for something positive, because why would you say, you know what I'm saying, the opposite? So you might as
Yeah.
well say I am to the highest version of who you know that you are. And it's like even if it seems so far, it's who you know that you are, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that you said it, put it so beautifully into, because you become who you are. And this is so like powerful when you realize, when you know what it means really. Like you become who you are. So who are you? I am, and you finish. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh my gosh. I couldn't have said it better. Who are you? I am. That's the only response. I mean, that's the only adequate response, right? Who are you? I am. You know?
And
What else can I say? I am. And like you can proudly say I am. Isn't it just enough just to say I am?
yeah. And
Isn't that
then,
enough?
yeah. And then you paint, you add, you create. I
Right,
am
right.
this, I am joy, I am love, I am abundant, I am a powerful, divine creator of light.
Yes, you are astounding, you're astonishing, you are
You're
amazing.
beautiful, you're
Yes,
magnetic, you're whatever you want.
yes.
You're rich, you're yeah, beautiful, sexy, everything you want, really.
And you get to
And
choose.
you get to choose. And I also wanted to tie back to what you said, that it's not without a reason that all the scripture says, like, I think, I'm not sure in Polish, I know, but in English I'm not sure if it's translated like that, but Jesus said, I am that I am,
Hmm.
something like that.
Yeah.
um and and this is also this is really interesting, because you can look at this: I am that I am. I am that I am. I am the fact, the pure fact that I am.
Yes.
This is who I am.
Right.
I am that I am. You
Right.
know, not the other way around. I mean, this is really very deep when you go into it, but
Mhm.
it doesn't even have to go this deep to be. You don't even have to go this deep with to be the conscious creator that enjoys, that has fun,
Right.
that plays.
You,
Really,
yeah. You can feel it. You can feel the resonance. You can feel the energy. You can feel the vibration of just those words. And I think
yeah.
it was Oscar Wilde that said something like life is too important to be taken seriously, you
Mm,
know? And that's a paradox because think about it. He said life is actually too important to be taken so seriously, you know? Like it's too
yeah,
important, you know? And so
yeah.
when I thought about
I
I
like it.
meditate.
I
Go
really
ahead.
love it.
Go ahead.
No, no, no. I just love it. I never heard this, but
Yeah,
this is so true.
it's Oscar
Yes,
Wilde. And I used to meditate on that quote, just thinking about it, like, wow, why am I taking this all so seriously? Like, why am I stressing myself out over these things? Why am I worried about these things? Why do I have all this anxiety?
it's
Why am I so
too
depressed? It's
important.
too
It's
important.
too important to
It's
be. Yes.
too important. It's too important, you
Wow.
know?
So
And
funny. I love that.
yeah, yeah,
I love how we in this word have this is so beautiful. I see so much beauty in all the embodiments and everything, but especially with words, and how this is the media, the tool in a way to translate this knowings, these vibrations, these truths. And we can do it in such beautiful and poetic way, and then, or just like in so many ways. And then we experience ourselves as people who hear those truths, and each person would see it differently, but then another way of putting it out would reach them more, because they have other unique set of subconscious beliefs that they see word with and perceive. But in the end, it's all, and it's just so beautiful, like the language, the spoken word, the written word, I feel.
yes. Uh-uh.
kind of like a projection of you. So what can you
Yeah.
experience? It's when you experience beauty, it just means that you have beauty inside you. You're able to perceive beauty, and there is something said in your subconscious that there is beauty, you know? So one person might not even see beauty because they I don't want to say they don't are like they aren't beauty, because when you see, for example, a thief doesn't mean that you're a thief, but you know what I mean is
Right.
when I am seeing
Right.
beauty, if they are not seeing beauty, then they are not seeing beauty, you know.
I get what you mean. You know, they say that it's a common saying, like beauty is in the eye of the beholder, you know,
Right.
the eye of the beholder. You can be in a museum, you know, and you can stand next to a piece of artwork or like a sculpture or just something that was painted years ago that just one person can stand next to it and be like, oh wow, this is horrible. And the other person can stand next to it and be like, this is magnificent, you know?
Yes.
And they're two different
Exactly.
people. They're looking at the very same piece of art, but they're seeing something completely different, you know? So when I was in
So,
Italy, I remember there was a saying, the rainbow is in the eye and not in the sky. Like it's
mm,
actually in the eye. You know, the person that can witness it, that can see it for what it is, it's something that they're able to see because it's something within them that's able to perceive that reflection, you know, on the outside.
and
So
when you,
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, no, I was just the like physics even came to my mind, the prism and the light and everything about that. I don't know like technically, but you know these things, and then you have the neuroscience or whatever that would even prove that it's your brain, like what you see is like just the light, and it's your brain who interprets that and sends signals. So you actually see a tree, but this is because it's your brain imagination, like interpretation. There is no actual tree in a way here, and it's like, whoa, so mind-blowing when you hear
Right.
these things, really. And some people really still try to question it as a like woohoo knowledge,
Yeah,
but it's just so we really forget how powerful we
we do.
are,
We do.
really.
It's
And
it's that filter. You know, you're talking about that filter of the magic wand of the mind. You know, the
yes,
magic wand of the mind. We all have our own filter that we, you know, our own kaleidoscope of images that we filter through that comes in, and like, yeah, once it enters the eye, you know, on the seeing light spectrum, once we see it, it has to hit the mind and be interpreted. You know, it has to be pieced together
yes,
by the mind, and
yes, yes.
what gives us what we're actually seeing. And I remember hearing, and of course, you know, there's myths, there's folklore, there's tales,
Yeah,
but
sure.
I remember hearing that there were settlers that came to an island of natives, and they had all these ships, these boats, like these conquistadors or these different people that
Mm-hmm.
were coming to this island or coming to this land.
Mm-hmm.
And these ships were off the coast, they were off at sea, but they were off in the distance.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the natives, when the original people of the land, when they
Mm-hmm.
looked out, they didn't see anything, but there were ripples in the water. And so
Right.
all it took was like one of them that finally saw what they were looking at, and he
And
explained to them what he was seeing, and then slowly like the image started to appear, and they started to see like, oh wow, there's a whole bunch of shit. They didn't know what they
yeah.
were looking at, you know?
Wow.
They didn't know what
Yeah.
they were looking at. So when you talk about the eye of the beholder, you actually have a talent, Carolina. You actually have a hidden talent. You know your hidden talent?
No. My hidden talent.
You
Tell
shared
me.
it. You shared your hidden talent on your
What?
story. You shared it. You said it's my hidden talent. You remember what you shared?
No, I don't.
Seeing fruits.
Oh, right. Seeing
Yeah.
fruits everywhere. Exactly. I have a fruit radar in my eyes.
You have a fruit filter, so you spot them
Yeah.
and you have these beautiful pictures that you take. And I saw multiple pictures in your story where you're taking multiple pictures of beautiful fruits and veggies and just all these colorful items.
Flowers.
Colorful,
I
just
love flowers.
very colorful. Yeah. And it's just like all I see is just colors. And it's just
Yeah.
the art of nature,
Yes.
Mother Nature's art.
Yes, I see it really as exactly that. And whenever I am in a in nature place, I'm literally enchanted. I'm so enchanted, and here the Bali Balinese flowers and yeah, nature is so colorful and so abundant. Right now I'm staying at the house that's just surrounded by jungle, so it's really just one color, but so many shades of it, of course, and there are some flowers here and there, and of course I had to end up in a place that has literally next to me a huge mangosteen tree, which I love so much. I don't know if you um, know these fruits, but also there are two huge durian fruits
Hmm.
that people like love or hate, but it's definitely bringing a lot of controversy. And I know this, and my teacher, actually, this yoga teacher, he's originally, I think, from India, but yes, he was having yoga courses in Bali. This is so funny because when I was about to, like, when the whole story happened, and then he was inviting people to assist him, the girls who like finished the course, and I unfortunately didn't finish it because I ended up back in Poland and the whole story we spoke about. But but I was like meant to be there, and here I am right now, and I actually met with this teacher, which is so funny. But I was just saying that I was so excited about fruits also back then, because I think that was the beginning of me even like hearing that there is something like raw veganism or like people eating fruits. That was such a ridiculous concept, and I actually was so excited, and I think it was in a perfect place, because you would say England, well, definitely not a perfect, like gloomy and rainy, but the the beautiful aspect of England is that there is huge population um, of like people, like immigrants, right? So there are Arabic and Thai shops on every corner almost, and of course I had to live like 5 minutes to the most abundant and the most colorful fruits I never saw before in Poland, because Poland was really like back in the time, so it didn't get those fruits imported at that time, like for example papayas and stuff like that. And one time, and also it happened that there was one guy who was fruitarian actually on that course, or raw vegan, and I was so excited to actually meet one in person that they exist. And he was telling me about durian. And so one time during the break, we drove to no we walked actually to a Thai shop and bought the frozen one. And when we brought it to the class, the teacher was like, "Oh my God, no durian! Just don't come, like put it to here." Like he closed the little like kitchen door because he didn't like, he hated the smell so much. And he's like, I don't want to see this fruit. I don't want to even, like, because it has very, very strong smell. And it's even actually in Indonesia, I think, or in whole Asia is, or maybe just in many countries, is not allowed on the planes, like even the whole fruit, because of how strong smell it is. And it's really interesting because all the people I met here that are actually living mostly like the living foods, or whatever you call it, lifestyle anyway, they love durian. So it's really a controversial one. And I love fruit, so I can be speaking about them so much. But
Yeah.
yeah, of course, I was just saying that of course I had to be surrounded by fruit trees to then
Yes. Yeah.
picture in the future.
I love that you're surrounded by what you love. I love that you're surrounded by color, by such vibrancy and life, that's
Yeah,
just living all around you. Just examples of Mother Nature, walking on Mother's belly, as they say, and
yes.
just experiencing life all around you. I love that. I love that for you, Carolina. I love that for you.
And that is why also I say, because people say, yes, the environment starts with you. Like, it doesn't matter what environment you are, you can always, like, be happy or whatever. And yes, but no. For me, it's really, but also it would tie back to the I am living in the aligned environment, right? So, but sometimes just even when you're not patient, but you have the power in your way to do an action to change your place of living when you can. I think this, and it was for many people in my experience, such a accelerator in their journey, like growth and self-discovery and just like happiness, really, because sometimes when you're so deep in the darkness and the thoughts and everything, and on top the environment is repeating that to you,
Yeah.
sometimes you can, like, of course you can be strong to overcome that. But for me, the path of least resistance was always to even start this conscious creatorship of beauty journey, was to remove myself from the old environment. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying my family is wrong or anything. I just wanted to make that disclaimer, although I think you know that that is not what I mean, but just for you, so that it's there. But it's your relationship with, and sometimes it's just too filled with stuff, with the dark stuff, that the path of least resistance would be to distance yourself. And that is why I was so, and always am so, almost like desperate
Mm.
to go. And yeah,
Yeah.
so far it really proves that even my magician skills are getting, like, they never been so strong as
Yeah.
when I finally was staying in Tenerife.
Exactly. Exactly. It's logical. As you're speaking, Carolina, you make so much sense because, of course, when you're thinking about achieving your goals or just being a conscious creator, it can be effortless in the right environment, but it can feel impossible in the
Yes.
wrong environment, right?
Yeah.
So what do they say? If a plant if a plant is not growing, you
exactly.
don't change the plant, right? You change the environment. You know,
Yes, and I'm
you move
always
it to
hesitant. No, no, no.
yeah.
Say, and I'm always hesitant almost to say that, oh, environment is so important because I know some people are in situation that without, like, I don't know, but I believe that there are some people who maybe are not able to make this change physically, and
Hmm.
I don't want to say there is no hope for them
No.
because you always can. But you
Yeah.
know, it's I love that you said it.
Yeah.
It's not about that it's impossible, that it can feel
It can
impossible and
feel
it can
impossible.
be
Right.
effortless. Exactly.
Right.
So if it's possible, it can really smooth things so much, so
Right.
much. And even right now, being after Tenerife, I thought I was already strong enough, but then I went back to for just for a month to get my passport, and I I thought I wouldn't do it. Like I thought I literally wouldn't make it. Like it was such intense, like me, like fighting almost, but like with love, repetition, like and yeah, but the experience was definitely not as effortless or as easy because it's. I'm not saying it's easy
Right.
because I now landed in a paradise, they say, and it's like smooth sailing. Oh no, like I've had so many challenges, and I definitely wasn't expecting to see what I will see and experience what I'll experience here on this island. So I'm not saying that in any way. So please, nobody take like quote me on saying, "Oh, you go to paradise and it's easy peasy." It can be. It doesn't have to be,
Right.
but I'm sharing my experience. It's definitely way easier,
Yeah.
even
So
when it's hard. Like the level, it's just incomparable.
right. Right. And thank you just for sharing your experience because like just like you say, even if it feels impossible, like even uh you've seen a rose pierce through concrete, right? You know,
Right. Yeah.
like
There's like this
it doesn't mean
song, right?
it
I don't.
now it doesn't mean that that's the ideal environment, but it pierced through that thing, you know? It's it grew. It grew
Yeah.
in a way less than ideal environment, it still grew. You know, it was still
So it's
able to
still
grow.
possible,
Yeah,
exactly. But
yeah,
doesn't mean that we have to make it super hard what we
exactly,
can, you know.
exactly. So,
And right now, I think when you go through so much, like inner turmoil, at some point you're just so tired, you
yeah,
know? You
yeah,
don't want to experience that anymore. Like you
yeah,
want everything easy and effortless, and there is nothing bad with that. You know, you have full right to it
yeah.
because you chose for so many years to make it super, super hard. Why not? Like, this is the same choice. Like, the quality is the same. It's just different polarity, you know? There's
So I'm glad, you know,
no,
yeah.
yeah, there's
I'm glad that you did that
no
for
more
yourself.
noble way.
Right.
Sorry, we were.
No, I was just saying I'm glad that you did that for yourself because who else was going to do it for you? You know, like you had to do it for yourself. You had to bring yourself to a new environment where you had more of a chance, you know, and you have
Yes,
even
it's
more of a
like
chance.
even giving yourself a shot, not like, you know, making a decision that you decide now I'm gonna stick to till I my last break. No, just right, just give yourself a shot, you know, just like not overcomplicate things, just focusing on here and now, because here and now is when you are a magician, and here and now is where you use this magic wand. So it doesn't have to be that serious, even when the in the stake is your life, your life at stake. Like, it doesn't have to be this serious, because we collapse under that perspectives. We get overwhelmed and anxious and panicking and unable to move when it's just too much. So just, focusing on one thing. Okay, I'm giving myself a shot. I'm living in beauty. I deserve to be here. I am loved. I am abundant. Like, okay, whatever, let's see. Just for now. Just for today. Just till the
Absolutely.
end of the day.
And today,
Sometimes, like,
and today is all we have, you
exactly.
know? It's all we have.
Exactly.
So at least for
And
today.
it's, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Carolina. Just thank you for all of this. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for these words. Thank you for your inner wisdom that is flowing through you. Whether you realize it or not, you've just been effortlessly flowing this whole time, this whole conversation.
Mhm.
Life is
Thank
flowing through you,
you.
just like the fruit that you see, just like the flowers you see, just like the greenery in your scenery, just like nature,
I love
the,
you.
it's flowing through you. So keep letting it flow and keep letting it grow within you. Yeah.
Love your rhymes. Love what's coming through you. Yes, thank you so much for inviting me here. Really, I'm
Thank you.
so blessed to be in that space.
Yes. Thank you for accepting the invitation, because you should know so many people I've invited, they've rejected. But you know
Really,
what makes the difference?
I was
But
so
you accepted.
happy.
You accepted.
I was,
Yeah. So thank
yes.
you.
And this is funny that you said you watched my last live. I was like, what the heck? I actually went live because I was just sitting
Right.
here in the same scenario and so prepared to our talk. And I thought, oh shit, like, what because for anyone interested, I missed the dates. Um, so I started like talking, and I never would have done that. So it was really funny that said that you watched it
Yeah.
and listened to it, like the whole thing. So wow, thank you so much.
Of course. Of course. And just keep sharing your voice with the world, because we need it. We need you. You are needed here. You are worthy.
And
So
back
thank
to you.
All right. All right. Much love, my friend. Enjoy that beautiful day. It looks beautiful out there. Enjoy it.
Enjoy your peaceful night and
I will.
your next beautiful day
I
in
will. I will.
Texas.
Take care. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Much love.
Love you. Much love.